talk about team building. And I was like, oh, good. How do I do that? So when I first started going over my presentation, I did it for someone, and they're like, maybe you should like show your family and like show you actually have kids while you're doing this. I was like, okay, I do have kids. This is my family. That's actually a question I get. Like, do you have young kids? I'm like, I do have young kids. They exist. This is my husband, Keith, and my 3 kiddos. They are 6, 5, and 1. We live here in Dallas, Texas. And I'm excited to talk with you guys. I feel like team building is something that I am passionate about, and if they had to ask me about anything, that's the one thing I'm like, okay, maybe I could do that. Like, I think I could talk about that. So a little bit about my UBAM story. I joined in September of 2015, and I felt like I got started pretty, okay. I was building my team through recruiting. Like, when I think team building, that's the first thing that comes to my mind is recruiting. And I was doing that, like I was recruiting these people. But I was missing like the promotion aspect of that. So I was recruiting, like actually building my team, but then they never promoted. So like we've heard that quote, and I tried to find who it was. So if it was you, tell me. But you're either on your way to promoting or you're on your way to quitting. And that's a lot of times true. Like there are those like random consultants who will stay at the consultant level, but if we're recruiting and we're not promoting, we're not really actually building our team, right? Because they're not going to stick around. So it doesn't really do anything. And so I finally like grasped that, like, oh, I can't just recruit. I have to promote. Okay, I get it. And so took me, a while to get that, but this was me at, I went too far. This was me at ELC of 2017, so I made it to exec. I had 10 team leaders, so this was me, I was the only exec on my team. I had to like crop everybody out. That's me and my big pregnant belly, but that is me. And so this was the year that I sat here and I decided I want to build my team through promoting team leaders. Like it finally all clicked. Like, okay, this is how I need to build my team is by promoting team leaders. Like, yay. Okay, so 2017 was the year of promotions for our team. So this was Alexi and I last year here at ELC 2018. We had 2 execs. Alexi and I was a director. She was an exec. And we had about 30 team leaders, which I was pretty proud of. Like in a year, we went from, just 10, and we went to 30. Like that's big, right? But what I realized was when we were sitting in this room last year, Alexi and I had done all of those 30 promotions, like ourselves. Like we promoted them, which is awesome, and I was proud of us, yes. But what I realized is what we were doing wasn't sustainable, and it wasn't duplicatable. We couldn't continue growing at the rate that I wanted us to grow at and that she wanted to grow at when we were doing the promotions, right? Like we're 2 people, both with kids, and I'm like, we can't continue at that rate. And so what I realized at ELC last year was I didn't want a team of team leaders. I actually wanted a team of executive leaders. I wanted to build up my leaders to know how to promote themselves, right? I don't want to have to do all the promotions. I don't want to do it. And so this is us here at ELC this year. We have a team. There's actually 9 of us. One promoted January 1st, so she couldn't come. But we do have 9 executives, and we have 115 team leaders. And I'm proud to say that Alexi and I did not promote all of them ourselves. Thank you, Jesus. We brought up our team of leaders to a team of executive leaders. We have now trained leaders on how to promote leaders, right? And so this is kind of the year where all this happened. And as I was thinking about what to present on, like how am I going to talk to a room of executive sit-ups on how to build your team? Like, y'all know how to build your team. Like, you're doing this, you're promoting. But what I thought was that a lot of us are probably in the same spot where you know how to promote, but do we know how to teach our leaders how to promote? And so that's kind of where I was last year. Like this past year was when I was really figuring that out. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've actually done this year. And my hope is that you can walk away with this with practical things that you can start doing for your teams, like tomorrow, that you can start actually learning how to lead your leaders. I don't know how I'm going to do that in 45 minutes, but big goals. Let's do this thing. So I left ELC last year, and the first thing I did was I hired a business coach. And this is really what we looked at for this year. I mean, I'm pretty blunt, I'm orange, and I told her, like, I don't need CSFs. I don't need to work on my personal business. I don't want you to track what I'm doing. I want to help train my leaders on how to be leaders. Like, that's really all I want you to do. She really loves me, I promise. And so the first thing that we looked at, and that I kind of started realizing, is that there's like a training tier of the Usborne world. And this isn't really y'all probably already know this, but this didn't really click in my head until last year. So the first training tier is a new consultant. So we're teaching our new consultants how to party, right? We got that. We're good at that. We got all the trainings, and we're going to be better now that Katie talked with us a little bit more. So we're going to work on that. But I think we can do this pretty well, and I think most teams do this pretty well. Okay. The next tier that we have is then we have our promotion-bound consultants on how to promote. And I think this is, again, something that most of us have now done well, right? We're execs and up. You know how to promote. We have this down. What I found is that this is where I kind of stopped the training. When they hit team leader, I was like, you got it. You promoted, right? You did it. You get it. Now do that. You go do that some more to somebody else. You promote them. They didn't get it, right? That's not something that naturally they understand how to do. And the more that I think about this, if this job that we do is very unique in that somebody can hit a leader level and not have any leader experience ever, right? A lot of the people on our team are promoting Express Success, which means they've been in the business 2 or 3 months, and then I was throwing them in, like, go lead your people, and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I think for me, and probably a lot of the people in the room, we don't quite understand this because I didn't have somebody like showing me how to promote someone. Like, we're rock stars, right? That's why we're here, but not all of our leaders are. And because I was doing this, I'm like, you're a leader, woo, go team, and not doing anything else, I was leaving a lot of people behind that needed my help. And so this, the leader level, the team leader level of teaching them how to promote out first-line leaders, that's actually only halfway through the training tier. Okay, so once they're a team leader and I'm training them how to promote out first-line leaders, well, what do I do after that? What if somebody has 2 or 3 first-line leaders? Are they done? No, because now I need to train them how to train their first-line leaders how to promote out a leader, right? So the next training tier, oops, wrong one, is usually when they hit about the senior team leader level. I mean, of course, we're all completely different, but this is kind of when I started thinking about it, is usually when somebody hits the senior team leader level, they've promoted out about 3 leaders. I mean, they have a second line, but most of them did that themselves, let's be honest. And so now I'm having to train my leader, like you have leaders under you, now we have to train them how to promote out somebody under them. And guess what? They're still not done after they have that. Once they're an upper level leader, I then have to train them on how to train their first lines, on how to train their first lines, on how to promote out a leader, right? So we just kind of keep moving up the tier. So I was at number 3 last year and I was stopping and I was missing so much of the training and my poor team had no idea what they were doing. And I didn't know what I was doing. And not that I know what I'm doing now, I don't. I still have a lot of training to do, which I think like we never stop learning. I mean, there's probably a whole other training tier under this that I could go into. We never stop learning. That's why we have coaches and whatnot. But I think a lot of us stop at this training tier number 3. Am I the only one? Anybody else kind of stop there? So when I was talking over my presentation with my coach, I was like, I have to talk for 45 minutes. Like, I don't do outlines, like I'm orange, so when I do a training for my team, I go live and I talk to them for as long as I want. And she was like, yeah, that's not gonna work for this. And I was like, oh. She's like, you're gonna have to do an outline. And I'm like, oh man, like I think I'm just gonna like not do that. I'm just gonna stand up and talk. And she's like, I mean, how are you gonna keep their attention? Are you gonna like stand up there and dance? And I was like, I can do that. Like Alexi and I, we were in Jewel team together in high school, like, and we stood next to each other in the kick line, so I can like call her up here and I can just start dancing, and like my coach didn't like that, so I took her advice and we were gonna have an outline. You see how pretty it is? Yes. So every letter is gonna stand for something, and I need y'all to be very proud of me because this was not easy for me. I think this is, thank you. This is the first time I've ever made slides, I've ever done an outline, like this is good, okay. And I'm gonna try to stick with it. So, before I get into my nice little outline, I want to just talk with you guys just a minute. My biggest fear of like doing a presentation like this, wasn't standing on the stage and talking or, y'all thinking I'm dumb. Like, actually that wasn't my biggest fear. My biggest fear was that you guys would walk away and feel like you have to change everything that you're doing, which would result in nobody actually changing anything. That's where I fall. After a lot of conventions and after a lot of ELCs, I have so much information that I go home and I'm like, I have to change everything that I'm doing. And I don't ever actually do anything, right? So my hope is that, everybody in this room knows how to build your team. You do. Be confident in that. Think right now, what are you doing well? What are you doing well with your teams already that you don't need to change? I hope that I say things up here and you're like, nope, not doing that. That's dumb. I can do it better. That's good, right? Because that means that you're confident in what you're doing, okay? I felt like my business really started taking off when I started owning who I was. I'm gonna call Gina out because she's one of my really good friends. I wanna be like Gina. You guys, I do. Like, I wanna lead my team like Gina does. I wanna be her, but you know what? I'm not Gina. Like, I really wish I was. I'm not. And I can't lead my team like Gina leads her team. I really wish I could. And I tried. But when I started being confident in who I was, in my strengths, and yes, I still try to hey Gina, what are you doing? You want to share some secrets? But when I started being confident in who I was and the strengths that I had, that's when my team started exploding. So don't sit back there and be like, I have to change everything. Think about what you're already doing well, and maybe just take a few things here and there that we can just tweak of what you're already doing. And I have to say before she gets mad at me, I know Gina did that with somebody else, right? Gina wanted to be somebody else. So I think we all do that, right? We all try to be well, that person is amazing and I want to be just like them, and if I could just do what they're doing. But the thing is that we can't, right? We all have our strengths, and those are good things. Your team needs you. They do. And so harness those. So anyways, okay, I am going to go into this. So the first thing that I realized after I left ELC last year that I was, needed to fix, P is for pouring into my first line leaders. I was treating all of my leaders like, they're all one big happy family. They're all my leaders. I love them all. I treated them all equally. The time I gave them always equal, which is, not a bad thing, but I wasn't training my first line leaders to be leaders to their girls. I wasn't building them up. I wasn't coaching it. I was doing it for them. I'm kind of a control freak, which, stuff was getting done. We had 30 team leaders, but I wasn't empowering anybody. I wasn't helping anybody. I wasn't coaching anybody. They weren't learning how to do it themselves. And that is not sustainable. I couldn't keep it up. I was tired. And so I had to start pouring into my first lines. I had to be intentional of my first lines got a lot of my time and energy, and I was training them to pour into their first lines. And I was training them how to coach their first lines to pour into their first lines. It's a trickle down. You have to start at the top and you have to work your way down. I started kind of challenging myself that, I'm still in conversations, of course, with all my leaders, but if there was another leader between us, that I wouldn't say anything coaching-wise, that I was gonna keep my mouth shut and I would be the encourager, but I would do all the training behind the scenes. Y'all know how hard that is for me? It is so much easier to just be and tell them what they're doing. But I couldn't do that because I was undercutting the leader that was in between them. What I was telling the leader is that I can do it better than you. You don't need to step up. I'm going to take care of it. I wasn't building anybody up. I wasn't training anybody. I wasn't coaching anybody. And so this is where it started, is to pour into my first line leaders. And they got a lot of my time and energy, coaching from the top down and delegating to them the tasks that they needed to pass down. Okay, now R, really, the R, it didn't fit, so I just made it fit because I'm orange, I can do that. So R stands for relationships, but not really relationships. I know the blues in the room are like, yes, check, I'm doing that. Relationships specifically, I don't mean talking back and forth with them all day long. Talking back and forth with your first line leaders in a conversation all day, every day, actually might not be what we need to be doing, right? Because how much of that is actually intentionally coaching them? So I actually, I do talk to my first line leaders, in a message, sometimes. But the way that I intentionally build relationships with my first line leaders is my personal coaching calls. Now, I know a lot of you probably already know personal coaching calls. You're probably already doing these, and that is great. If this is the only thing that you take from my conversation, personal coaching calls with first line leaders every single month. And I know there's going to be some of y'all that are like, I can't do that. That's fine, you don't have to. But my presentation's on team building, and so I think this is important. This takes a lot of time. So I do my personal coaching calls every single month for 30 minutes with my first line leaders. Do I do it with all my team? Nope, I do it with my first line, and I coach them to do it with their first line. And I make sure that they're coaching their first line to do it with their first line. Do you see where we start with the top and we trickle it down? And I know this can be time intensive. I currently have 18 first line leaders. That is 9 hours every single month that is going to go into personal coaching calls. That's a lot of time, right? But when you coach people how to do it, you're actually going to be freeing up your time later on, right? Short-term difficult for long-term, right? Did I do that right? Yeah, short-term difficult for long-term easy. Okay, so a little bit about my personal coaching calls. I have them sign up for a time that works for them. So I try the timing of these calls, I try to keep toward the end of the month so that we can prepare for their next month. And I make a sign-up genius, and I put in the different times that I'm available. I pick the times that I'm available, okay? And for this week, I do have to make some sacrifices. I get up a little early one day, I stay up late one day for my Pacific Coast peeps. But I pick the times that I'm available. And I make a sign-up genius, and I send it out to them, and they sign up for the time that works for them. So it's very planned. After they pick the call in our messenger, I make the little reminder, so we're both reminded. Make the little reminder thing in your messenger. That's important. It reminds us both when the call is coming, so it's a structured time. There are some times where they might have homework ahead of time. So for example, in December, we had this goal setting thing that they had to fill out and submit to me before their call. Sometimes it's just, we're just gonna hop on and talk. I prepare before the call by looking at back office. Now I'm going to talk a little bit later about what I'm looking for specifically in back office, but what I found that when I have the set time for the personal coaching calls, I am more intentional to be spending time before the call to look at that leader. Do I know what they're doing? Do I know what their team is doing? Do I know how they're recruiting? A lot of times the answer was no. I wasn't looking at that every month. And if I don't know what they're doing, how can I be coaching them? I can't. If I have no idea where they are and where their team is, there is nothing that I can be helping with. So I prepare before the call. So for example, Monday morning I wake up and I look and I'm like, I have Susie and Sharon and Felicity today. So I'm gonna go in the back office and I'm looking at each of them and I'm making notes for each of their calls. So I know the direction that the call should go in. Okay, now personal coaching calls, I don't know if everyone has done them, but the big goal is don't tell something you can ask, which is so hard. I mean, so hard. If I'm looking in back office and I'm like, okay, you had $500 in sales in November. I want to get on that call and I want to be like, so I was looking in back office and you're kind of sucking. Right, that's what I want to do. But what I have to do is hey, so how's your personal sales going? I'm asking, okay? I want them to start being more aware of what's going on in their teams, okay? So the whole goal, don't tell something you can ask. So a little bit more just structural things. We start with a catch-up and an intro. I let them talk, maybe look over their Facebook page, do some stalking. Y'all, I am not blue. I'm working on it. It's just not happening. I take notes about their kids' names, about their husbands' names, about what I saw on their Facebook. So when I get on the call, I can be like, I saw Hudson was sick last week. How's he feeling? Use their kids' names, use their husbands' names. How was Christmas with Michael? I do take notes, and I pull up the notes before the call so I can remember what we talked about last week. I can remember their kids' names, right? Building relationships. Fake it till you make it. If you're not blue, we can fake it, that's fine. And then we head into something that's going well. So I ask them, what's something that's going really well? We're gonna start with a victory, right? And then that's when we go into something that's frustrating, something that's not going well. So this is when hopefully they're gonna go well, my personal sales are just really struggling. Hopefully they bring it up. If they don't, I'll direct them in the way we need to go. It's fine. We're gonna get to whatever I saw was, not going well. But the goal is that hopefully they're aware enough that they see it. So this is a little bit about my personal coaching calls. Okay, so next up after R is gonna be the objective. Identifying the season that they're in. If I do not know what season my first lines are in, I can't be coaching them. If I don't know what they're currently struggling with, if if I don't know what exactly they're needing me to coach them on, I got nothing, okay? So this is when, before the call, I'm looking in back office. Okay, so I'm actually gonna like break it down. I don't know if y'all can see that. So this is my new leader, Natalie, okay? There is a little fun way in back office that I can see sales a little bit easier if I change the drop down where it says display options, change that one first to say active with sales. And then you can go over to that first category, the sort field, and I change that to total sales descending. So once I change it to active with sales and total sales, then when I click go, so this is for November, I just pulled up a random month. So this is for November, this is what's gonna show me about new leader Natalie, and it puts all of her central group in order from the top selling to the worst selling. Okay, so when I look at this, my new leader Natalie is the one at the top. She had 4,300 in personal sales in November. That's amazing, Natalie. Okay, then let's take a look. Nobody else on her team had over 500. Okay, that's like flashing red bibble sirens in my face. She had a $4,300 month and nobody on her team sold over 500. What? So what Katie was talking about, she's rocking her parties, but she's not passing that down to her team, okay? So when I look at this, it could be a few things. It could be that she's not recruiting, that she has nobody in her central group. It could be that she's recruiting and she's not training well, okay? So I need to look a little bit further into this. So I'm gonna change it. Next I'm gonna go and I'm gonna change the display options back to all active, and I'm gonna change the sort field to start date. So I wanna see her recruits in order of like when they started. Okay, so when I look at that, again, this was in November. So she had, let me look over here. She had 2 recruits in November, 3 recruits in October, 3 recruits in September. That's pretty solid. Okay, she's recruiting 2 to 3 people a month, either her or somebody on her central group. Now with 4,000 in sales, should she have gotten more than 2 in November? Sure. But she is recruiting, but none of them sold over 500. So what does that tell me? New leader Natalie has a rockin' personal business. She's recruiting. Is she helping her new recruits? No, they don't got nothing, okay? They're not even over 500 in November. Oh my goodness. So on this call, when I'm talking to Natalie, I'm gonna bring that up. My leaders are over there trying to figure out who this is. Y'all see them over there whispering? I blacked out the names, you're never gonna know. So when I get on the call with her, if she's my first line, when I get on the call with her, I'm gonna talk to her about that, like what's going well. She's gonna say her personal business, duh. What's not going well, okay? Hopefully, what am I hoping that she brings up? That she's recruiting and her recruits never do anything. That's what I want her to say. That's what I'm really secretly hoping she's gonna say. And if she doesn't, we're gonna talk about what she thinks is going bad, and then we're gonna move into this, because we're gonna talk about it, right? And so, I mean, I don't know what's going on there because I haven't been helping. I don't know what's going on there yet. That's what the call is for. I do the call to figure out what's happening. Is it that she's getting them started strong, like she helps them with their launch party and then she doesn't help with them after? Maybe. If she's this awesome in her personal business, maybe she doesn't realize how much help somebody needs. I don't know. Is it that she's not helping them at all? I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna have to have a call with her to figure it out. And we're gonna go person by person because she's gonna have excuses for everyone. Well, Molly just, wouldn't answer any of my messages, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, whatever it is. Okay, so when I get off this call with new leader Natalie, my whole point of the call is to figure out what season that she's in and what we need to be working on. What action steps is she gonna have, right? So new leader Natalie is in a season of personal business and recruiting, okay? But what does she need coaching on? After she gets the recruit, she needs help with coaching that recruit. She doesn't know how to coach a recruit. Somewhere in the promotion process, we got 3 people to Success Bound, okay, perfect, but she didn't learn how to do it herself. And she's been over there doing her thing, and it all looks great. She has great personal sales. She has over 5,000 a month in Central's group sales, but she's never gonna promote anybody out because she's not helping them, okay? So her action step, probably with her, what I would do, she's gonna have her parties, probably with her, since she's actively recruiting. I don't need to help her with the recruiting, but when she gets a recruit, guess what? I'm gonna be in the conversation. And I'm gonna help her behind the scenes on how to train this recruit. So with her action step, it might be, okay, Natalie, what's your party calendar look like for next week? Awesome, you have 4 parties, that's amazing. So you're gonna get at least 1 recruit next week, and when you join when that recruit joins, I want you to start a group message with me. And I'm just gonna be helping behind the scenes, because I think we're missing something here. I'm not sure what it is. In that group message, I'm gonna be quiet, I'm gonna be the cheerleader, I'm gonna be cheering you on, I'm gonna be coaching you behind the scenes, okay? I don't know what's happening. The only way I can effectively coach her is to be in the message and to see what's happening and to identify it right then and to coach her behind the scenes. Am I gonna do it for her? Nope. She's not gonna learn that way. I'm gonna be coaching her behind the scenes day by day. What am I seeing? What can we improve on? What can we be doing differently, okay? When somebody joins, I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. Okay, so then my next person that I'm gonna look at is First Line Felicity. I mainly came up with names because I call everyone Susie, and it got so confusing because literally I was calling everyone Susie. I'm like, these are different people. So then I was like, Susie and Susan. I'm like, that doesn't work. So this is First Line Felicity. So when I look at her back office, so this is in order from the most to the least. So this is the first one I always look at, is the total sales in order, descending order. So Felicity is at the top. She's leading her, again, this is in November, so she's leading her central group with 4,700 in sales. Yay, Felicity. On our team, our leaders, we have the expectation that they still party pretty well, and so she's doing awesome. And then she has Carly, Central Group Carly. Do you like that? So Central Group Carly has 1,900 in sales. That's awesome. She has somebody else with 1,400. She has two people with 1,300, one at 1,300. Okay, so Felicity has some rock star recruiters. Now, if I had been looking at this in November, I mean, we could have gotten some of them to promotion about, but okay, so I had an off month and I wasn't looking at back office. That's okay. We're going to start now, and we're going to work on getting some of these people to team leader. So with Felicity, she has people in month 1. So now I get to coach Felicity on her rock stars and how to promote them. Same thing, I'm gonna have to coach her behind the scenes, right? Felicity isn't in a recruiting season right now. She's in a promoting season. She has some rock stars under her. So a lot of what I'm helping my leaders on is how to identify this. How do you look at back office and identify if you have somebody in month 1 of promotion and if you don't, okay? Which seems so easy for us, like we're like, duh, but they need help looking at back office. Some of my leaders don't look at back office. I'm like, what? How are you not looking at your back office? But they don't. They don't look at the back office of their downline leaders either, okay? So my color is a little bit more. My first color is orange, but my second color is green, and it didn't used to be. When I joined, I was orange gold even. I'm still pretty gold, but my green is actually my second color, and it's about to pass my orange. And you wanna know why? Promotions. I'm in back office every single day. And I'm not exaggerating. Every single day I'm looking at these numbers and I'm tracking them. And I'm helping my leaders develop a system that they can use to track. So green, I've had to become green. I have spreadsheets. I mean, that's crazy. I'm gonna show you, don't worry. Okay, and so this is the objective. I want to help my leaders know the season that they're in. I'm setting up their action step. I don't get off the phone call until we have an action step with a deadline, and we've set a reminder in Messenger of when they need to get back to me. So Felicity, it might be, okay, so Carly, she's gonna get started on month 1 promotion, and I give her action steps, and we're gonna talk about it, don't worry. I've tried to make this as like step-by-step as we possibly can. Okay, so then, wait, wrong button. Gosh, this button is so confusing. Okay, so then we're gonna go into M, which is month 1 of promotion. So now that I've gotten First Line Felicity on the phone, and we have found somebody who's in month 1 promotion, what do I do now? Okay, well this is the part that I feel like you probably, I mean, y'all know, right? Like you've promoted people, you know what you're doing. You probably don't need me to stand up here and tell you much about month 1 promotions. But there's always a but, right? What we have to do is we have to help our leaders identify that. They don't know what to do, most of them. They don't know what to do. They have somebody that's in month 1 of promotion and they're like, I don't know what to do now, right? That's our job. We have to help them. We have to help show them what's gonna happen next. Okay. So there's two questions, and I get asked a lot. One is promotion groups. Our team, we do have a promotion group. I hate it, let me be honest. I don't like the promotion group. Because what leaders think is that, okay, I have somebody in promotion, I added them to the promotion group, my job is done. Somebody else is gonna promote them. Nope. That's not happening. But the promotion group, what I was finding is that's what my leaders thought was going to happen. That I recruited somebody and they're awesome and I added them to this group, like my job's done, woo! It's not. It's their job to get them to promotion. So what we've done on our team is that our promotion group, and there is some value in it, and I was talking to the people at my table last night about this, that I was going to tell them, but I couldn't tell them yet, so suspense. I think the value of the promotion group is that it makes my leaders look at the people in their central group and identify them early enough, right? So at the end of December, I was messaging my leaders telling them, okay, we're getting the promotion group up and running. You need to be looking in your back office. You need to be seeing who's going to be added to this group. And we're thinking about that before the month already starts, right? Would my leaders have done that by themselves? No, they would not have. So the benefit of the promotion group is that it makes my leaders intentionally at the right time be looking in their back office. I tell them what to look for. So for me, anybody who has sold over $1,500 the previous month, we probably need to be having a promotion conversation with. It also makes them bring up promotion with their downlines. And I tell them things that, literally, I'm like telling them, if you haven't ever brought up promotion with a central group member, this is what you can say. Let's go ahead and start these conversations. So the benefit of the promotion groups, I think, is the timing aspect of it. Promotions is like 90% timing. 90% of it is just the timing and doing everything that happens systematically at the right point of the month, okay? So that's the benefit of the promotion group. Another benefit of the promotion group is that we get like-minded people in a group, and really, I have an awesome director now I'm put in charge of the director group, but she's amazing at it. Really, it's a group that we can boost morale. She's gonna go live, she sings in our promotion group, like she's so fun. That 3-week freak out mark, I'm like, hey Kristen, time for you to go live, and she hops on and she goes live. Really, it's to boost morale. It's to show them that they're not alone, that other people are doing this, that it's hard. We share leader stories. We share maybe ideas for when they feel like they get up, but that's really what the promotion group is for. There's no training. I know we all wish that there was some secret promotion group that if you just had the right content to put in there, it would get everybody there. There's not, that I found. Maybe there is. Maybe somebody else can share that part. But what I found is that the promotion group is just a tool. It really is. Also, in order to be in the promotion group, they have to, I'll get into this in a minute, but their calendar for the next month. And then we can also have a commitment conversation with them. This is something that my coach and I kind of talked about, that it's important for them to be committed before they start it. It's going to be hard. Promotion sucks. They're going to want to give up. They're going to want to quit. If they know that before the month even starts, they're going to be a lot likely to push through it, right? So we have a commitment conversation. We tell them, it's going to be hard. This isn't going to be fun and games and parades. It's going to be hard. Are you committed? Are you ready? And so we have that at the beginning of the month before we've ever started anything. Okay, so that's what month 1 looks like on our team. Okay, so then going into organized calendars. Okay, 90%, can y'all take notes? Am I going slow enough? Okay, we're good. Okay, so I talk really fast, so this is really hard for me. I'm trying to go so slow. I'm probably still talking fast. I feel like it's slow though, so we're good. So organized calendars, intentional calendars and plans. You guys, this is so important. This is so important. So before month 1 starts, this is actually what we did a few weeks ago. I sent out a sample calendar to everybody in the promotion group. So this is what the calendar looked like. We had a team-wide window shopping party. It's nothing exciting. I know everybody's going to want to know about it. It's just like the leader wallet at home. Basically, it's a way to show off the new titles of the parties. So we did a team-wide one on the 7th, so that's on there. I've already blocked off all of the Fridays and Saturdays, and I've blocked off the last 2 days of the month. If they have a party on the 30th, the sales probably aren't going to be in enough time, so I don't even want them to count on those parties. We're just going to say nope. So I send them this calendar that they can use as an example, and their job, if they're in the month 1 group, is to block off 12 dates that they want to have parties. Our averages are about 250, which they're going to go up because Katie just, is amazing, and Gina, we're redoing everything. So our party average is going to go up, but we usually say that 250 is our party average. And so if they have 12 parties, that's going to get them to 2750. There's going to be some flops, whatever. But 12 parties is usually good. So what I want them to do I want them to have 12 parties booked? No, but I want them to know what dates they are going to book. I want them to have a plan. If they don't have a plan, we're never going to be successful. So at the beginning of month 1, even if they have a completely empty calendar, I want to see the dates that they are going to book up. So things that I'm looking for. So here's an example of somebody on my team. This is Monica. I meant to block out her name. I did not. That's fine. Here's Monica. Here's her calendar. It's kind of hard to see, but so she is going to have 2 parties every Thursday, and she's going to have 2 parties every Sunday. This is what I want to see. She is being intentional with her calendar. She is double booking. Everybody in my team that's promotion bound, we ask them to double, triple, or quadruple book if they're crazy. I want her to be intentional with her calendar. This tells me that she knows the exact dates that she wants to party. When she is in a party and she's offering her party date, she's going to know exactly what she needs to do. She's going to be offering her first available date, and she's going to be booking them, okay? Also, I encourage my team to party on the same dates every week, and I think this is important. Why? Because we're trying to automate our system. We want systems, and I know all the oranges are like, did you really just say system? Yeah, I did, because I can't remember anything. But I have partied on Thursday every week since I started being a consultant. I can stand up here and I can tell you every single day what I'm doing in my personal business. I don't even have to think about it. It's Saturday, I know what I'm doing, right? It is so easy for me. People ask me all the time how I keep up with my personal parties. It's because it's automated. I don't even have to think twice about what, I know what I'm doing today, right? It's just a part of what I do. I want my team to start doing this as a new consultant. I want them to have a party date. I want them to have a system. I want it to be automated. I want them to know every single day what they should be doing. It should be no questions. Also, guess what my husband knows? What's going to happen on Thursday nights. There's no question. Which, I mean, you would think, it took a few years. Like, literally, it was like last year, and he's like, Thursday night, what are you doing? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I've been doing this for 2 years. But I think he's finally got it. I think he knows now. Thursday nights, I will have parties, hopefully. Also, what I'm trying to teach my team is that these are non-negotiables. There is no such thing as like, oh, well, I just didn't get a party booked. Nope. You message until you get it booked, right? Like, this should not be a thing of like, it didn't happen, okay? We should know. And as leaders, I need to know when their parties are so that I can hold them accountable for this. So this is a tracking system for them, but it's a way for me to know and to hold them accountable. So organized calendars. Okay, next up, T, tracking those party dates and sales. So now that I know when their party dates are, I need a way to track them, right? I need a way to know when they are, what we're doing every single day. Because the same thing that I'm doing with my personal business, I'm teaching my team how to do, right? They don't know how to do that. My leaders don't know how to coach their teams on that. So that's what we're doing. I'm asking my leaders to track their girls' party dates, but guess what? I have to also be tracking them if I'm going to be helping my leaders on how to track them, right? I can't be helping them if I don't know what's happening. And so there's a few different ways to do this. I'm going to show you a few different systems. I'm going to be honest. I change my system every month. I found a system this month that I really thought I liked, and I do like, and one of my leaders just sent me another one, and I was like, oh, I'm going to try that next month, just because it's fun, you know, it's never boring. This is what one of my leaders does, and I think somebody else in leaders had shared this. This is just, you know, good old whiteboard. It's blocked off. There's washi tape. So cute. Love it. She has her month 1 and she has her month 2. I think it's important to know the difference. Month 1 is completely different than month 2. So this is great, and this works for her. I'm never really like in one place when I work, and I would never update that. I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't. It doesn't work for me. And so this month, what I'm doing is I'm using a spreadsheet. And so this spreadsheet, in the first category is consultant name, their ID, and their leader. And then all of those dates are like the dates that they want to have parties. So when they sent me their calendar, I just went through and I marked the days that they want to have parties. And then as they got them booked, I'm going to change them to like a different color. What I like about this, I can organize Google Sheets by leader. So I can go into that category and I can say organize, like sort from A to Z, and all of the leaders, girls would be together. And so if I'm going through and I'm messaging, you know, Felicity, I would see all of Felicity's girls that are in promotion bound, and I can hit them all at one time. I could also organize it by party date. So for example, on the 14th, that would be Monday, I could go through today and I could organize by the 14th, and I could message every leader who has a girl with a party on the 14th. And I could say, hey, that party's in 2 days. Are you in it? How's it going? Has she brought up joining to her hostess? Right? I can also look at, okay, so say the 17th, that's next Thursday. I can sort by the parties on the 17th, and I can message that leader and I can say, hey, Carly has 2 parties next Thursday. Does she have them booked? Are you helping her with her hostess? Right? So I know, because I know in my head what should be happening every day, I can help the leader start tracking that, right? Now, if they have a downline leader, so Susan, the second line, Susan, she's Felicity's first line. So I'm going to start with Felicity with her central group. So I'm going to say, hey, Felicity, Carly has 2 parties on the 14th and 2 parties on the 15th. Are they booked? That's the first thing. Are they booked? Yes, they're booked. Awesome. How are they going? Are you in them? Are you looking? Are you helping her? Are you helping her with screenshots and all this stuff? And then she's like, yep, we're good, I got him, perfect. Okay, so your first line, my second line, Susan, her girl has 2 parties on the 14th and 2 parties on the 17th. Have you checked in with Susan? And she's like, oh, no. I'm like, okay, why don't you go ahead and message Susan, and we're gonna check in. The same thing that I just did with you, you can just copy and paste that to Sharon, right? Or to Susan and ask about her girl Sharon. Hey Susan, I saw that Sharon has 2 parties on the 14th. Are they booked? Are you in them? It's easy if you have a system to track it though, right? If you don't know when your girls are having parties, you can't help them with them. You don't know what step they're on. If I don't know where my first lines, when their girls are having parties, I can't help them develop a system, okay? So this is what I do for month 1. Month 1, most of our team hits the sales by themselves. At the end of the month, yes, they're starting to get recruits, but for the most part, they need to have the party dates because most of our girls enter month 1 from the very beginning. They don't have any recruits. They need to have the parties and the plan to hit the numbers themselves. Month 2 is going to be a little bit different. In month 2, we switch to their recruits and tracking their recruits and making sure they're hitting their sales. So I don't know if y'all can see that. I should have made it bigger. Oh, and it didn't download right. But so for month 2, I really like to look at each leader. So once they've hit month 2, they've got this, right? So I really look at each promotion bound girl, and I like a sheet for them. And this is divided up. Every one of those would be one of their recruits, their recruits' current sales, and their recruits' parties. So I'm training my leaders, right? First line, Felicity has Carly that's promoting, and Carly only has 1 recruit. And we're midway through month 2. We're officially in freak out mode. I'm like, hey Felicity, what are y'all doing? Like, she has to get her recruits, like now, get them, you know? I'm nicer than that. I don't like to say get them. I mean, sometimes, maybe, but I have to be looking at that, right? I have to be, because Felicity doesn't quite get the whole map of promotion. She doesn't get, we're halfway through month 2, she needs her promotion, so it's my job to be telling her that. Or let's say she has all 3 of her recruits, and recruit number 3 has 250 in sales so far. In my mind, she needs 3 more parties, right? If we're averaging 250 a party, the recruit is going to need 3 more parties to hit 1,000. And so I asked Felicity, hey, when is that 3rd recruit? When are her parties? I don't know. If you don't know when her parties are, if you don't know if she has parties booked, how are we going to get her to Success Bound? We have to have a plan. So if I know that recruit number 3 has 250 in sales right now and she has 1 party booked for next Thursday and that's all she has, I know in that party next Thursday, we have to get 2 parties booked and we have to get them booked for the next Thursday. Right? And my leader has to know that. My leader needs to be in the parties. She needs to be watching. She needs to be making sure that those 2 parties are booked for the next week. Does that make sense? So for month 2, we're tracking more the consultants. We're making sure that they have their plans to hitting the 1,000 by looking at their parties and their sales and all that good stuff. Okay, I have no idea how long I've been talking for. Am I good? Okay, you're telling me to hurry. Okay, I'm kidding, it's fine. Okay, identifying weaknesses. So what I found with this is that a lot of my leaders are reactive coaches. They wait until their downline reaches out to them for their problem, and then they answer that one specific problem that they have. So for example, if a downline reaches out to me and is like, hey, my party didn't hit 100, what do I do? Okay, well, some leaders, their answer is, well, you know, we don't really have to do anything with it, you know, it's fine. What is my answer? Why did that party hit 100? Add me to it. What can we do? Like, I am seeing what went wrong to help with next time. Identifying weaknesses, you have got to be like a detective. You have got to be in there digging and figuring out what piece are we missing. We have party elements, right? There's really 3 main pieces that they're missing. They're missing hostess coaching, they're missing the interaction and the messages and the relationships, or they're missing follow-ups. It's one of the 3 every single time. But if you're not in the parties, you're not gonna know what's happening, okay? So I do have a few kind of like ways to track, I guess you could say. So this is Gina's that she shared at convention, the party scorecard. She everything you do, you get a score, and you look at the total score, and you can see how their party did. This is one that I like. With my parties, I look a lot at the messages that the hostess sent, and then the messages that the consultant sends. And so this is kind of what I like to look at. So, you know, if a promotion-bound person isn't doing awesome, I'm gonna have them fill out a party tracker, and I'm gonna see where in the party that we're not doing well. Is it hostess coaching? Is it relationship building? Or is it follow-ups? So for example, if they had 20 people at the party and they had messages going with 15 of them and there's only $25 in orders, well, it's follow-ups. they did everything else right. It's follow-ups, easy fix, okay? If they had 20 people at the party and they only had messages going with 2 of them, okay, well that's gonna make everything a little bit harder. How can we do follow-ups if we don't have messages? So that's what we're gonna focus on, okay? So the party tracker is a way for us as the leader to kind of help identify those a little bit more. And then another thing that I haven't talked about yet, I'm in all the messages. I mean, I'm in them all. Because I don't feel like I can really coach my leaders if I don't see what's happening. So here's an example of a message that was going on. This was with a downline leader. There's a leader in between us, and I am coaching my first line Felicity on how to help her second line Susie. So here's an example of what I'm looking for in these conversations. Now remember, I'm keeping my mouth shut. This conversation that has another leader, I am not allowed to coach it, right? I'm not allowed to. I have to keep my mouth shut. So hopefully y'all can read this. So the leader says, yes, that's amazing, Megan, way to work. Okay, so hostess coaching needs to start happening ASAP for those 2. Can you update me with names and time zones? She's killing it, right? She's doing so good. I'm so proud of her. So the consultant says, well, one isn't until the 29th. That's Samantha, the one on Sunday, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So she booked a party for the 29th when she had an open available date. Red flags, right? We're booking our first available dates. That's super important for a promotion-bound person. They have to book their first available dates. She's not doing it. So as a leader, we have to step in, right? So I'm watching what the leader says back. Okay, sweet. Remember that we want to book up your earliest party slots. She's doing so good, right? She's going on into it. And then at the end, she moves on to the party tonight. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. Okay, so me, I'm seeing that and I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen next? Is the leader gonna message, because this is actually my second line, is the leader gonna message behind the scenes and help this leader on what she missed? Guess what? It didn't happen. So I'm like, oh man. So I have to step in and I have to coach my first line on what she missed. Okay, so what did she miss? She addressed that the party isn't until the 29th, but we didn't do anything about helping her to move this party up. We didn't see screenshots. We weren't able to help with wording. We didn't do anything on how to fix this for next time. This is reactive coaching. She handled a situation kind of, but she wasn't proactive in figuring out how to fix it for next time. So I messaged the leader, and then the leader steps in and messaged her behind the scenes, was like, hey, you did awesome identifying that. Way to go. Start with a compliment. You saw that she didn't book for her first available date. But let's look at that a little bit more. Can you ask her for screenshots and we can help her with those? It's not too late. We can move this party up. And so we did. The leader messaged her back, asked for screenshots, and we moved the party up to her first available date. Yay! That would have been missed had I not been in the conversation, right? So not only would this hostess not have booked her first available date, the leader wouldn't have got a coaching experience. The leader above her wouldn't have learned how to coach a downline leader. And that's all because I was in the conversation watching and coaching her behind the scenes. Does that make sense? Okay. Sorry, I into it. Okay, so O is one-on-one recruiting help, y'all. Recruiting is the downfall of my team. So many people hit month 2 and they don't get the recruits, and so we're stuck in month 2. Anybody else? Like over, they hit the sales, they hit the sales, they hit the sales. Okay, we gotta help them. They don't know how to recruit. We have got to help them one-on-one. We have got to be in there seeing what is happening. The same with anything else. I don't know what they're struggling with recruiting if I'm not in the conversation. Are they not becoming friends with them? Are they not speaking in their hesitations? Are they not painting the picture? Are they not asking? I don't know, okay? We have got to get in there. So some specific ways that we help with one-on-one recruiting is hostess coaching. We ask to be added to the conversation with the hostess. Genius, right? You can see firsthand what's happening. You can help with wording behind the scenes. This is a big one. Our hostesses should be joining. They love the books. They want the books. Why not get paid for it too? Next up, sitting in the parties and identifying the excited people. You guys, VIP pages, they're great. I love them. People don't just sit in my VIP page and join randomly. They don't. They join from a party. Now, it might be a party that I do later on down the road, but they join from parties. The further out from a party that we go, the less chance they're actually going to join. So we have to be sitting in these parties, and we have to be looking at them. If one of my girls has a party on Thursday night, after the party, I'm like, oh my gosh, Susie, see, I see Susie every time. Susie and Sharon and Molly, they were so excited. Let's message them right now. Let's send them this. Send me a screenshot of what she says back, and we're helping them right then on their hesitations. Right then, that night, when they're excited. We're not waiting. Right then, you have to take advantage of that. Okay, also looking at screenshots, which I just talked about, you have to see what's happening. You have to see what they're wording, what the person is saying back. It's so important. There's so many times when my girls are like, tell me, like, I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and it like sounds like they're doing everything right, and I see a screenshot and I'm like, oh, it all makes sense, you know? Like when you see what's actually happening, it's way different than what they think is happening. And then 3-way phone calls. This is one that my leaders are terrified of, but they've really stepped up and they're crushing it. 3-way phone calls with the promotion-bound recruit, the potential recruit, and the leader. So we have sample phone call scripts. We've gone live and done examples. I have offered to do coaching calls with me and my leader and a potential recruit so they could see it firsthand. And they're killing it now. They're awesome. While we've been at ELC, 2 of them have had coaching calls, or had recruiting calls while we've been here. Isn't that awesome? They're so great. Okay, so that's for recruiting. And then the last one is the next month. When we end a month, we're already starting the next one. There is no stopping promotions. Every single day for the past 365 years, I have been focused on promoting. I mean days of the year. I have been focused on promoting. It never stops. It never stops. So hopefully to my months. Okay, so this is an example of kind of like an overview of what my month looks like for my month 1 girls. At the beginning of the month, I'm doing coaching calls with all of my first-time leaders, and we're identifying month 1 girls. And then we're quickly going to get into the calendars with our 12 party dates. The next 2 weeks, we're partying and we're recruiting. They send over their team leader tracker at the end of every week. That helps us to see like if they had 2 parties, they only have $50 in sales, obvious red flag, we need to look at those parties. So we're looking at trackers regularly, we're making sure they're on track. If we're halfway through the month and a promotion-bound girl only has $500 in sales, that's really bad. So we're staying on top of that, and I'm training my leaders on how to stay on top of that, right? Halfway through the month, I am checking back office. I do halfway through the month recognition. I think Erin Mitchell had that idea, putting it on a banner. And anybody who has $1,000, I reach out to them and I encourage them and I tell them that they should go for month 1. They already have 1,000. It's not that hard. They can do it, right? A lot of them at this point have not even thought about it, and I'm getting in there and I'm looking at the rest of the calendar. We can identify them right then. Okay. So this is another big thing that leaders don't understand. If you look on here on the 22nd, it says final plans made. Okay, so let's look at that. The 22nd. Why am I making final plans for the month of that day? Well, if they book parties, if I'm like, oh man, you only have $1,750 in sales, you need 1,000 more, which means you need 4 parties. If we book them that day, that's really the last day that I feel really confident in like booking parties. So if I tell them you need to get 4 parties booked by midnight tonight, why don't we book 2 for the 28th and 2 for the 29th? That's your goal by midnight tonight. Now they have a set plan in place, right? They can start hostess coaching, we're ready to go. If I am waiting till the 24th or the 25th to look at final plans, we're going to be rushing those parties to try to get them in, right? What if they don't get parties booked? What are we going to do then? We need a plan actually on the 22nd, right? We need a final plan. We need to be looking at their numbers and subtracting it from the 2750. And then at the end of the month, the 25th through the 26th, I'm having my coaching calls again with my leaders, and we're looking forward to the next month to identify month 1 girls. We're getting the promotion group set up. They're setting their calendars, so it's starting again. Okay? And then the 29th is our final party day, which gives us the 30th and the 31st to be hitting hard follow-ups, looking at, okay, do we need a last minute, like, cards for a cause, or like, what else do we need to do? That's like our Hail Marys that we start on the 30th and the 31st. And then month 2 is going to be looking just a little bit differently, only because I'm with their recruits by the 13th. So that first week of January is when my leaders are hardcore sitting in every single party, and we are in all-in recruiting mode. Like, you better be bringing that to every single party that you have. If we're sitting at January 1st and that recruit doesn't have any, or if that promotion-bound girl doesn't have any of her recruits, she needs to book up that next week like crazy, right? Because we need all of her recruits. If they can get them by the 13th, we most likely will have time to get them all to success by the end of the month, but they need them by the 13th, okay? Okay, so that is kind of a look at month 2. And that's the end of my slide, I guess. So I guess I just wanted to, I don't have a good closing because I didn't think this far in our presentation, so that's fine. But I think one thing that, for me, I think is really important is that literally every day I'm promotion minded. If you are partying and you are recruiting and you are promoting them, but then you stop the training there, you're just spinning your wheels. You're never gonna go anywhere, right? We party and we recruit to find our next leaders. So when you find your next leaders, train them and train them well. I know this sounds like so much work, and it is. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of work. But guess what? I've now created executive leaders who don't need me anymore. I mean, they need me. I'm still there, but they don't need me as much, right? They're the ones that are spinning that merry-go-round, and I just kind of have to like tap it. I'm like, hey, did you mess with your girls? And that's all I have to do, and they know what to do. Isn't that amazing? I don't have to do it anymore. It's awesome. So yes, it's a lot of work, but it's freeing up more of my time later. right? So I can go and I can go promote more first lines and I can build my paycheck. That first and second line is what's gonna build my paycheck. So I can get them going and they don't need me as much, and so I can go to finding more and I can do the same thing with them. So yes, it's hard, but short-term difficult for long-term